Before I come on to the video to explain the loving kindness meditation, just to say that during this weird coronavirus time, I've been noticing myself feeling more connected to people all over the world, and also feeling inspired by the response that people have had to that very authentic desire to help. One thing that we can do is develop loving kindness to respond to the situation. Hello, my name's Padma Chandra. This is the second of two videos that I just wanted to put out there, and in this video I'm going to be teaching the second practice called the Metta Bhavana practice. What does Metta Bhavana mean? The Bhavana part of Metta Bhavana means something like to cultivate, to bring into being, and the Metta part, it means something like unconditional loving kindness. A metaphor that I quite like is to think about the sun and the way that the sun shines on all plants without discriminating. So it shines on the nettles, it shines on the roses, shines on the thistles, it shines on them all equally, and it doesn't discriminate. It doesn't say, oh, I'm going to shine on this plant, but I'm not going to shine on that one. And so we're cultivating this desire for the well-being, for the flourishing, for the happiness of whatever we come into contact with, whether it's out there in the world or in ourselves. A lot of philosophies and religions and even common sense sayings communicate that kindness is an important thing, but there aren't very many philosophies or religions that actually teach a practical way of developing or cultivating kindness. It's almost as if there's a view that you're either kind or you're not kind. But actually, you might think of yourself as a bit hard-hearted or something, but you can still cultivate kindness from wherever you are. We begin with ourselves. So this is quite an important principle behind this, which is that if we don't feel nourished in ourselves, then it's hard for us to have a really wholehearted and effective kindness towards others. Sometimes it's almost a compensation for a lack in ourselves if we're not well nourished within ourselves. And the more metta, self-metta we have, the more flexible and expansive towards others our metta can be. So we're trying to really root ourselves in self-metta, in self-care. The second stage, we bring to mind a friend, somebody that we feel warmly towards at the moment, or that we feel appreciative towards. So we bring them to mind and we cultivate loving kindness, metta towards them. And in this stage of the friend, we just choose a straightforward friend. Don't choose somebody that you're all sexually attracted to, because that can just complicate the practice. And although there's nothing wrong with those feelings, it's just we want to make it as straightforward as possible. And also maybe don't choose somebody who's died or that we might have feelings of grief come up. Just again, this is an important emotion to be with and experience, but while we're trying to cultivate metta, we just want to keep it as straightforward as possible. In the third stage, we bring to mind somebody that we don't have a strong feeling about, and this is probably about 99% of the people we come in contact with in our lives. Maybe not at the moment because we're in our houses just communicating with our friends and family perhaps, but in the supermarket, at work, and just on the street, most of the people we see or have contact with, we don't have a strong response to. And I think this third stage of the practice is where we really it starts to be quite revolutionary. We really start to change our habits of mind. So we're really starting to look at people that we don't have a strong response to. We're engaging with the fact that they also call themselves me when they look in the mirror. They cherish themselves. They have a life. They have people that have a response to them who love them probably. They have a whole story of their lives that they're living, a whole story in the past and a hope for the future. They want to be happy. They want to avoid suffering just as we do. So we're engaging as we can imaginatively with the people that normally we don't really think about very much, we don't spend much time being aware of. It was Iris Murdoch that said imagination or compassion is realising that other people are real. I'm not sure what the actual quote was, but it's something like that. So that's the third stage, the friend stage. In the fourth stage of the practice, we bring to mind, sometimes it's called the enemy stage, and I think that's a bit strong. It's somebody that we have difficulty with at the moment, or who has difficulty with us. I often find it's good friends that come into this stage, because they're the people that usually, because we care about them, they can press our buttons And it's best not to choose an arch enemy for this one, at least to start with. Just be quite complicated. Somebody that we're maybe a little bit irritated with, or that you can tell that they're irritated with us. So that's that stage. And again, you can tell it's quite a revolutionary thing to think about wishing well to somebody that we have difficulty with. And quite an important principle here is that we don't have to like the person to be able to wish them well. And then the final stage of the practice, we bring to mind all of the people that we've thought of. So that's ourselves, the friend that we've thought of, or the neutral person, and the difficult person. And we bring them all to mind. I often imagine all of the people, including myself, sitting around either a fire or under a tree in the sunshine, sitting in a circle. And we just imagine that this well-wishing is reaching each of those people, each of their hearts equally, just wishing that the life in those people to flourish and grow, wishing for them to be happy. And then in that final stage, we also expand out in all directions. We imagine the metta reaching people in all different directions. And we can take that as far as we like. We can take that into outer space. We can take that into all sorts of places on the planet as well. So that's the whole practice. But how do we actually cultivate metta? There are quite a few different ways, but we'll just, in this practice, we'll use the most traditional way. And at the end, after we've meditated, I'll mention a few other ways that we can cultivate metta. So this traditional way is using phrases, and the phrases are, may I be well, may I be happy, may I be free from suffering. May I be well, may I be happy, may I be free from suffering. And when we do the practice, I'll lead us through and I'll remind us of that, so we don't need to keep everything in our heads. And what we do with those phrases, they're not affirmations. They are really just pointing us toward this well-wishing for that person. Each meditation has a focus that we keep coming back to in the meditation. And with the metta bhavana, the focus is really this intention to wish well. And these phrases just keep bringing us back to that intention. So we drop the phrases in silently to ourselves. May I be well, may I be happy, may I be free from suffering. Just drop them in. And then we just wait for a response, and it might be quite a small response. It's a bit like fanning a little spark into a flame, or there might be a blazing fire there already. That's fine, just however it is. And we always just start where we are. So when we sit down to meditate, we might find that we're different each time, and the landscape, the inner weather will be different. We might be feeling happy, we might be feeling sad, we might be feeling that, and we just identify it and then respond in a way that a friend might respond. So an example for me was when I first started doing the practice, and I had a sense I had a stone in my heart, and that's just how it was at that moment. And after trying a few different things, imagining water just pouring over that stone, and that's what helped. Sometimes doing this practice, especially in the first stage, it can bring up a sense of judgment that you're not feeling what you think you ought to be feeling, but there isn't a right way of feeling. Whatever is there, it's material for the practice. Sometimes we do need qualities like patience with ourselves, self-forgiveness, and we need courage and energy as well. We need to be vigorous sometimes, be a warrior of kindness. So I sometimes imagine having a staff, like a wizard or a wise person, and banging that on the earth and saying yes to life for each person, for myself and other beings. Getting yourself into a posture where you think you're going to be alert. That's one quality, one of two qualities. And the second quality is really the ability to let go of the body, just let go of the muscles of the body into the ground. So you want to be upright and kind of dropping down with the body. A good thing to do is sit in a straight backed chair with your feet flat on the ground and your knees at a 90-degree angle to the ground, or sit on cushions. But if you sit on cushions cross-legged, support your knees so that you're not holding anything up with your legs. Or you can kneel on with your bottom on cushions and your kneeling knees on either side of the cushions, so that you're not drooping that way, and you're not kind of arching the back. And usually people don't make themselves high enough. And it's helpful to close the eyes just because it reduces the distractions. The Metta Bhavana practice. So always beginning with checking your posture and your body, looking for the qualities of alertness and uprightness, and at the same time noticing if there's any holding in the body, in the shoulders, the forehead, the face. The belly. Feeling the sitting bones, which are the bones at the centre of the buttocks, the weight going down through those to the ground. Letting, as we drop the weight down through the sitting bones, the more we can just trust the earth and let that happen, the more we can have a sense of uprightness and lift in the upper body. Having a sense of embodiment, of being here in the body, rooted down through the sitting bones. We have an anchor. It's quite good to have a sense of an anchor either in the lower back or the lower belly. A centre of gravity. And now just going to start the Metta Bhavana in the first stage by just coming spaciously to the heart or belly area and just noticing what sensations are there, what feelings. And then just tuning into what your inner weather report is, what your inner mood tone is at the moment. Any need to do anything with it, just as it is. And you're having the attitude towards yourself as you would have towards a friend. And in this first stage, we just start by, once we've had a good sense of how we are, we just start dropping these phrases in gently to ourselves. May I be well. May I be happy. May I be free from suffering. Just drop them in and just see if there's a response there. And keep coming back to this intention to wish ourselves well, however we are. Moving on to the second stage, bringing to mind a friend or somebody that we feel warmly towards at the moment. Don't take too long choosing somebody. They don't have to fit too precisely into the category. Just somebody that we feel a little bit or a lot warmly towards. And again, we're going to be doing this phrase. May they be well. May they be happy. May they be free from suffering. Engaging with the heart wish for this person. You can imagine them in front of us. And now moving to the third stage, choosing somebody that we don't have a strong emotional response to. We bring them to mind. Again, try and choose somebody quickly. Doesn't really matter too much. Practice the phrases with this person. May they be well. May they be happy. May they be free from suffering. Really trying to feel the spirit of those words. And just dropping them in. And if you start to lose concentration or go off, it doesn't matter. You just keep coming back to this intention to wish well, to wish this person well. And it can help to just imaginatively engage with the fact that they also want to be happy and well, just as we do. And that they have people that they're connected to who love them. And now moving on to the fourth stage, we're going to choose somebody that we find difficult or who finds us difficult. And as I said, not choosing somebody too difficult, just somebody who is quite a mild irritation or difficulty with at the moment. And we do not need to like them at the moment, but we can still cultivate the desire for them to be happy and to be well. It might be that if they're behaving in a way that we think of as unhelpful, they may still be doing that because they want to be happy, even if it's misguided. Maybe even trying to see them as a completely separate person from us. And sincerely wishing them to grow, to develop, simply to be happy. Now moving to the fifth and final stage, we bring to mind all of the people that we've thought of, ourselves, the friend, the person we feel neutral about, and the person we find difficult or who finds us difficult. And just imagining all of these people together equally, feeling the metta reaching them, like the sun shining on all plants, encouraging them to be flourishing in their hearts. And again, we use the phrases that we've been using in all of the stages. Throughout the whole practice, we can come back to the metta for ourselves. The more we can be in touch with that, the more we can allow the metta to reach further. So imagining the metta just like an effortless light going in front of us, like a beam of a lighthouse. And we can imagine the houses and the rooms that people are in just lighting up with the metta. And to the whole quarter to the right of us, houses one by one, the rooms and the hearts. And extending out or shining in an effortless way the whole quadrant behind us. And including animals in the fields and in the forests, in the mountains and the lakes. Extending out to the quadrant to the left of us. People in all different states of mind. Children, elderly, and people in the middle. May all beings be happy and well. And going upwards into the skies above us. The birds, the beings of the air, and beyond into space. And below us, beings of the earth, underground beings. And under the glaciers, under the ice, under the sea. And then just finishing by allowing that light, just coming back to the source of that light, or the place where we're in the middle of that sphere of light. Going back to the metta for ourselves. Just dropping doing anything at all. Dropping the practice. And bringing the practice to a close. So that's the Metta Bhavana practice. Just say that there are other ways of cultivating this well-wishing, which I really enjoy. You can just use your imagination however you want. For example, you could imagine beautiful flowers, buds and flowers growing in people's hearts of different colours, different fragrances, glowing with light. And you can imagine that growing in your own heart and in the hearts of others. And I've also sometimes imagined that the wise part of myself is encouraging the less wise parts of myself. Or you can go on a journey through a garden showing people the garden. You can imagine yourself sitting in a place that you remember being happy in, or you can take yourself back in imagination to a time when you felt fulfilled and happy, just to be able to tune in to remember that feeling in the body of how you felt at that time, and just coming back to that feeling. That can be an effective way. Okay, so go well out there, and remember you can just respond however you are, with kindness.